ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second episode of Auntie M. You're here with me, Auntie M.
And me, Auntie P.
And today we will be talking to you all about living life online, the highs and the lows. We'll be answering questions and queries. And of course, what we like to say, we're not professionals, but we've certainly been there and done that. How you doing, P?
I'm doing okay, thanks, Em. How are you? Yeah, I've done a lot of that.
You've done a lot of that. What about this? You done a bit of this?
A fair bit of this.
Bit of that, really?
Hey! Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the internet, and we are both of a certain age, and actually when we were growing up there was no internet.
And it wasn't.
We were young adults, or in our 20s, I think, when social media first came to the fore. So we have this, our generation, we have that
mixed bag towards it because it was part of our lives.
And maybe,
yeah.
I mean, what's your sort of take on social media?
Well, yeah, this is an interesting one. I have definitely been to the extremes of social media. I've had quite a big experience of that. I mean, like you said, when we grew up, we didn't have social media, but we spoke at school, and you would come home and you rang each other. You'd have to physically pick up the phone and ring, and you have to speak to somebody's mum or dad and say, are they there? And then you would gossip, and it had to be from 6 o'clock onwards, because that's when the 3 minutes was. And then you would talk about it again at school. And there was the only way to sort of share it was magazines and posters on your wall, of showing, things that you liked. And then of course MySpace came along, and then we had Facebook. And although I find Facebook, we said this last week, that Facebook is good if you've got friends all over the world and you're literally trying to keep in contact with these people. Facebook is great. But for everyday friends, I don't think it's a real thing. It's not a real thing.
I don't know. I also think Facebook's really important for family. I mean, I turned mine off. I took it off my phone a couple of months ago, and I hadn't been on there for ages. And actually, a couple of people I got in touch with on WhatsApp, my uncle and also my friend from Russia, they noticed I was gone, which is really lovely. So I do think
I'm taking a break from social media.
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone, I just did it. And I just thought, no one's going to notice, but actually people do notice. And I do have people on Facebook who, they're actually my sister's friends, and I've got a lot of LARPers on my Facebook because I LARPed briefly in my mid-20s.
But for people that don't know what LARPing is, P, do you want to just tell? Because we could do an episode on LARPing.
We could. It's great. Live action role play where you dress up as a character and you have in character and out of character, and you go camping.
But this again is Facebook. It does fill certain purposes in your life, but I also think it can be quite a dark place, and it can be quite a lonely place if you're not careful. I mean, okay, so do you obviously we both have Facebook. What about Instagram?
I have it, but I barely use it. I just use it to, I don't really use it.
Like Snapchat?
No.
This is when I go, there's Twitter.
Yes, but again, rarely use it. I mostly sort of lurk and read things.
What about what's that, TikTok? That's the latest.
No, don't have it because I got scared about the Chinese government. It became a thing in 2020, and it lockdown, and everyone was like, "Oh, TikTok." And then I read or heard something about it being Chinese, and then
if they reverse engineer the software, and so it's a Chinese government eye looking through your phone, see what you're up to, they can advertise stuff.
Like they're going to care about me making a video of a pop song.
This is the thing, though, P, is that in 1984, the book, there was it was like the fear that cameras would be everywhere, and that the government would put cameras up and be watching us all the time. But in fact, the reality of it is they don't need to put cameras up because we're all filming ourselves and putting it online. And so it's right out there for advertisers, government, police. We're just filming ourselves, and we all think, this is another thing, we all think we're all, who'd want to watch silly old me? It's not necessarily like, are you doing something wrong? but it's people that are going to go, oh, here's a mum who's filming herself cooking, and suddenly on Facebook you get all these adverts for bakery goods and stuff, and you're like, how did they even know? You say to your friend, oh, I'd love to get my hair cut, and you get adverts saying about hair cutting stuff, and you think, oh my god, they're listening.
They do listen, because it's really creepy. Like one time I was playing a game called Bears versus Babies, a card game with my brother. That wasn't a paid advert, by the way. But yeah, I was playing this game and my phone was just on the table. I wasn't even logged into anything. And then I started getting adverts for Bears versus Babies and these other games by the same company.
That
freaky.
I mean, it is scary, and that's the stuff we don't want to think about, but that's the more scary stuff. I don't think we're scared enough. But I've got a thing here I wanted to do, P, and I'm going to find out which social media are you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right, okay. Right, so you have to pick one of these. Are you? And you can do this at home. Apple, does which of these speaks to you the most? Apple, think different. Skittles, taste the rainbow. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Or US Army, be all you can be.
Oh, Skittles, taste the rainbow.
Good choice. Right. Your favourite thing to Google, Dr. Google, is news, celebrities, jobs, old friends, weird videos.
If I say jobs,
I'm
going to say jobs.
Right. Why did you get on social media? To a job, to reconnect, to share your portfolio, to watch and share videos, to read the latest headlines?
Well, it was like 2007, so it was probably just to reconnect.
Yeah, reconnect. Yeah, we got a... What's your biggest pet peeve? People beating around the bush. People always talking about their jobs. People who can't express their creativity, and people who overshare their personal lives. I know which one I'd pick there, but what's your biggest peeve then? People beating your bush, talking about their job, who can't express their creativity. What does that even mean? Or overshare their personal lives.
Oh, for me, it's definitely bush beating. I like a nice, honest, straight talker. And nobody likes a beaten bush.
I love these quizzes. They're just nonsense. Pick the best colour scheme. Light, medium and dark blue, neon, or purple, reds and pinks.
Oh, no. See, I'd go for purples and blues. I'm going to go purple, red and pink.
Right, okay, I'll allow that. And which of these most scares you? Your top nominee losing an election, bad actors creeping on your social... Why would bad actors be creeping on your social media?
It doesn't mean bad actors, it means like bad people.
Okay, right. Being in front of a camera, losing your dream dog, losing your dream job, an unflattering photo of you going viral, or being bored to death.
I'm so vain, but an unflattering photo of me going viral.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Right. Okay. You are Instagram.
No!
Your selfie game.
At least I'm in my peer group. Sorry, read it again. Stop, read it again. Say you are Instagram again. You can edit from there.
Right. You are Instagram!
Woo!
Your selfie game is on point. You're a candid conversationalist. Some might even say you have #NoFilter. You're a storyteller at heart, sharing your behind-the-scenes moments without fear. Even as you shine, you make sure everyone around you looks their best, and you know how to take a great photo. You're Instagram.
Oh, thank you very much. I feel like among my peer group, that's the coolest one. So, I don't use it, but...
I think I was worried for a moment there that you were going to end up being LinkedIn.
What, because of my job searches?
Yeah.
Oh, no. #employ me. #please. No, I have got a job. Don't worry.
You've got a job. So, right, moving on. Thanks for that, P. So moving on, we've got our first problem. We're going to start with an AITA. Now, do you know what AITA stands for?
Am I the asshole?
Yeah, exactly.
Or asshole?
Asshole.
Asshole.
Am I the rectum in this? Right. Do you want to read this, P?
All right, then. So this is you just don't what?
Well, I just said I've just been doing all the talking, so over to you with your beautiful voice.
Thanks very much. Okay, so this is from a Reddit thread called "Am I the Asshole?" and it's a brilliant thread. If you've never had a look at it, it was recommended to me by someone we're not allowed to mention on the show, actually.
One of those.
Anyway, they gave me a really good recommendation for it, but it's.
Can I just do a side note?
Yeah.
Somebody I talked about in last week's show sent me a message.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone. Was it the person that you ghosted, or was it one of your Facebook deletes?
Maybe. Literally, I don't know if it was a dream, because I think I opened the message and immediately shut it. Because I was like, oh my God.
Had they heard the podcast, so you don't know?
I don't know. I'm scared. Look, you know what? If I've got the balls to say it on my podcast, I need to have the balls to deal with it in real life.
It's true, actually. I was listening to a lady talking about writing memoirs and saying how they do immediately impact the people in your life. So I guess it's true with mentioning your real life on a podcast.
Yeah. So I'll keep you updated on next week's podcast. On my side note, I'm so sorry. Right, carry on.
If you live that long.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So this is a Reddit thread. It's very good. Am I the asshole? So my uncle died this morning. Well, it wasn't a surprise. He had been sick for a while. It's still very sad. His wife had been making the calls and is old-fashioned, doesn't use Facebook or social media, prefers to tell people things in person or on the phone. Within 6 hours of his passing, a friend of my aunt's posted a memorial post about my uncle. R.I.P., heartfelt, very nice. The problem that I feel is that there's family who haven't been notified yet. I commented on the post asking her to take it down to allow my aunt to notify so that family members didn't find out about his passing via Facebook. Am I the asshole here for asking her to take her post down? I didn't check with my aunt first, but I assume she wouldn't want anyone to log into Facebook and find out that way, because honestly, I wouldn't want people to find out that way. Am I wrong here?
Short answer? No.
No.
No. Then moving on. I mean, do you know what? This is really difficult, because the reason we sort of picked this is one of those things on Facebook where people share other people's news, and especially when it comes to stuff like this, with somebody dying, and you haven't told the family yet, but for some reason people post about it on social media, and you just can't do that. It's almost an unspoken rule, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was the spouse or the child or the parent of the person who'd passed away, then that would be fine, because it's the immediate family. But if it's like a friend of the family, not really appropriate.
Totally out of line there. Especially not even asking, like, is it all right? You know, but then again, I suppose, like, the drummer from the Foo Fighters has just died, and everybody's posting R.I.P. R.I.P. You know, I mean, it's out, but the band put out a notice together, which then led on to that. You know, it's almost like you have to wait until the family have given an official post in order to allow everybody else to then do their their messages on Facebook, or wherever. But I mean, this is the thing. My mum, she would hate Facebook. She hated it, especially if I put a picture up of my kids, and then someone would come up to her, because obviously we lived overseas, and I'd post a picture of my kids, and they go, "Oh, I saw a lovely picture of your grandchildren," and she'd be like, "Ah!" and she would literally go, like, her blood would boil, because she hated that other people were seeing pictures of her grandchildren before she'd seen them.
Right.
She felt so robbed of a moment that she said, well, they're not, they're not anyone else's grandchildren, and I kind of agree. I mean, I still think it was silly, but I do get it. I do get it. I think there are some things that you have to be careful about when you're sharing online. I don't think we think about it enough.
Yeah, and I think it's very difficult because I don't know. In some ways, you can get like kind of a frozen anxiety about social media. I know I do sometimes because I used to just post like everything about my life and like pictures of holidays and particularly pictures of holidays, whole albums of photos. And actually, I love it when I see my friends and my family doing that. I love following you on Facebook and seeing your posts and stuff. But at the same time, I suppose it's like anything. Once you put it into the public sphere, it's not your information anymore. And
Yeah.
then how that can affect your family and affect real people's feelings in the real world, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I'm a teacher, and one of the things we teach about internet safety is like anything you put on the internet is there forever. Nothing gets deleted from the internet. We tell them because they do need to be really careful. And I was thinking actually about your kids. Like, how do they feel about you posting pictures of them? I read a post once where children had grown up on Facebook, but their parents had posted everything. Baby pictures, documented every
whole lives are documented, yeah.
minute of their lives. And there was a whole discussion about, should you really be putting pictures of your kids on there if they can't give consent?
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I think we're all learning as we go along, and I think the rules will change. And I hope that it will become something good. I really do. I've had some bad experiences using social media, and it is scary, especially as a mum when I've got kids. And I think my one thing is just to keep open conversation and just say, there's something you're not sure about. Talk to me about it. I'm not going to go through your phone. I'm not going to start policing, but we're going to have open conversations about where are the boundaries, about consent and all that kind of stuff. But if you or anyone else have had a bad experience or a good experience and you want to share us about posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram or any other social media, you can get in touch with us on social media. And of course, everything will remain anonymous as you wish, and we will keep your secrets. and please get in touch with the show. Have you got anything else to add on that, P, before we move on?
No, please just email us at rtmpodcast.gmail.
At Gmail.
Sorry. rtmpodcast@gmail.com.
And so we're moving on now to online dating. We certainly caught the beginning of that.
Yeah, we definitely did. In fact, you married your university sweetheart, which we might want to cut out the edit because we're not allowed to mention them.
Yes, the one that shall not be mentioned.
you married somebody that you met in person.
Yeah.
At a point in your life. And I actually, my two long-term relationships, my two kind of longest term, were both as a result of internet dating. One was the old Plenty of Fish, yeah, and the other one was OkCupid. POF, bit of POF, when I was 27.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Where's going?
I'm going to say 2007. That was 2008, right. And then the other one was 2016. Did you just hear that?
Yeah, that was me. That was my phone. I'm sorry. Say that again.
It said, "Oh, you stupid bitch."
No, it said, "Oi, oi, message."
Oh, it's going off again.
Right, I've turned that off now. I've turned it off. Right, okay, let's start
again. So my two kind of significant relationships were both as a result of online dating. And it's much less awkward now to admit that than it was with the first one back in the day. People would ask how we met, and we used to like make up stories because we didn't want to say it was online.
But now everybody meets
online. Yeah.
Tinder's the biggest one, isn't it?
Tinder is the biggest one. Well, yes, I would say it's the most famous and culturally referenced.
Yeah.
So we have a problem here from a Tinder user. So, am I the only one feeling overwhelmed with Tinder? I just installed Tinder 2 weeks ago, and it's my first time using any kind of dating app. I don't get tons of matches, but I still feel like it's too much to handle. I met 4 girls this week and have 3 other matches who want to grab a drink next week. I guess I have to choose which person I should meet because I'm a student and I don't have time to grab a drink and socialise and try to connect with people every day. But since I don't know any of them, it's hard to know who I should meet first. They're all very nice, but we're still strangers. It also feels weird to meet so many people in such a short period of time. I consider myself to be an extrovert, but still, getting to know 2 strangers every week makes me uncomfortable. I find myself texting 6 to 7 people at the same time. I remember this feeling throughout the day, and it's exhausting.
I was going to say, this guy sounds like...
It's
How do you
exhausting.
have time? Right, carry on.
I hate to leave people unread, so I try and answer them, which is how the app is supposed to work, in which case that would mean the app isn't made for me, and I'm fine with that. Or am I doing something wrong? How are most of you handling meeting all those people you meet online? And I'm a dude, so I wouldn't be surprised if girls are having a worse time, since from what I've heard, they get way more matches than men.
Bloody hell. How many dates did he go on in a week?
4.
4.
4, and he's got 3 next week.
Jiminy cricket.
Well, he must have a really good profile picture. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he doesn't have his profile picture. What for you is a profile picture you'd be like, yes.
Okay, he needs to have his shirt on.
Yeah, shirt on. Glad we both agree.
If there's a dog in it, I'd probably go for a dog.
What if he's holding a cat?
Maybe.
I mean, so sometimes apparently that's a very popular picture. Is profile picture with a pet, with an animal,
yeah,
a shirt on. A shirt on.
I think where people where their faces look nice, where they're like unguarded, unposed, kind of smiley. Yeah. Natural.
I know it is hard. I know it is harder for men online, and I know women get inundated. I mean, this is the thing. If you're going out and you meet somebody, that's like one person a week. I personally have never been dating more than one person at one time. Am I boring? Am I boring? Hang on.
I don't know. I feel like being British, we don't really have dating in the same way that they have it in the US. It's like...
Oh, God, yeah. I actually had this guy I knew at uni. He was from America. He was from Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me and he said, I'm having a really hard time. We're not going to do an American accent. He said, I'm really having a hard time with women. I said, okay, well, what's happening? I said, you're a good-looking guy. What's happening? He said, well, blah, blah, blah. And I say, hey, you look nice. And then he goes, and then I give them my card. This was like early 2000s. I was like, I beg your pardon? He said, yeah. I give them my business card. And I was like, oh, well, there's your first problem. Could you imagine a guy giving you a card?
Yeah.
Well, sounds so sordid.
He'd need to contextualise it for me as well and be like, here's my card so you can call me. Not like just...
Yeah, and I said, for a start, mate, lose the cards.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's quite old school, but but with Tinder now, have you ever been on Tinder? Have you ever had a profile on Tinder?
I did briefly, just before I met Seba, went on Tinder, and I met one guy who used to be a driver for the Saudi royal family in Costa.
That doesn't surprise me.
We had a really, really awkward coffee in Costa, and he told me all about driving for the royal family and how he had 5 months off a year. And and then at the end, he was like, I don't think we're really well matched. And I was like, I don't think so either, because I didn't know anything about cars.
Oh,
the Saudi royal family.
Oh no! But was that his only 2 things? Bless him. He thought it really impressed you.
I think his name was Paul. Paul the driver. Hi, Paul, if you're listening.
Paul the driver, if you're listening, get in touch and tell us what was wrong with Purdy.
He was really honest at the end of it. I was just like, I don't think I want to see you again. And I was like, really? Bye. But I think some of the messages I got when I was doing online dating were pretty mean. And
that's the thing. I honestly think that if you're meeting somebody face to face and you're trying to sort of break up with them, or even if it's just a date and you go, no, I didn't think this worked out, but it's that online thing where you're like one step removed from that person, and that gives you permission to then be mean to that person. And I think we should, it really does have an effect on some people really deeply about how they're treated.
Yeah.
And you know,
I think again, it's that you've got to have that concept, like you said, about it being two different worlds. And I think, you know, kind of almost moving on to our next topic, I suppose, after the dating. But it's that thing of crossing into the real world when the Facebook world, the social media world crosses into the real world. You know, where's that boundary? And you have to remember that they are connected, and that, you know, like you were saying earlier, that you know, nothing online is ever deleted, that employers check your Facebook nowadays and check your social media posts. And I had a friend once who posted a rude comment about their boss, and was disciplined at work for it on Facebook.
Of course they should be. It's out. They put it in a public domain.
I don't think they should be. I think you should be allowed to post what you want on social media.
Okay. So
not post what you want. I mean, obviously, like, not if it's like abusive, but if you had a bad day at work and, you know, someone you're not.
Also, she shouldn't be friends with her boss. She should have a close. This is the thing, and I think this is our generation. We've got to learn how to put the privacy settings on. What I'm saying is, you should have a space where you can say what you want, but it's not like a journal you keep under your bed. People are going to see it, and especially if you put it on a public post, even if it's like friends of friends can see this post, and if somebody comments on it, then it comes up on their page, you know, and that's what I mean. It gets back. You've got to be so careful.
Yeah. And it goes back to, you know, you were saying in your quiz, like one of the questions was about, you know, what winds you up the most? Is it bush beaters or oversharers? And oversharing is definitely, you know, I think people who overshare as well, because then they're getting hated.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing. I think social media is a minefield, and I think we have to just think before you post. You know, I just think that I used to post stuff willy-nilly and for attention, and now I've really scaled back, and maybe because we're older, I don't need that same kind of attention, and I've really scaled back my social media posts, and I'm really careful about what I put, because I do know if I put something about I'm having a rough day and I put it on Facebook, sometimes I think, no, I didn't want to share that, and I think it's a really hard lesson. But just to sort of round up, we love social media and we love having all our listeners please interact with our show. We want people to send us messages, but we also will absolutely respect the privacy of our listeners and of the people around us. And you know, we're learning as we're going along ourselves. And if you have anything you would like to comment that we've talked about in today's show, please send us a message. You can email us. You can send us a WhatsApp. You can send us a Facebook message. We're also on Twitter at Auntie M Podcast. And you can find us everywhere. And we'd love you to interact with our show and give us some feedback on the things we're talking about today.
Yeah, we absolutely would. We'd love to hear from you at auntiempodcast@gmail.com. Or you can message our Facebook page, or you can... That's it.
We're everywhere. I've tried to put us everywhere, P.
Oh, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
Dr. Google. So this Dr. Google segment, Dr. Google.
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. Right, 5 things to do if you're feeling overwhelmed by social media or the news. Or for our overwhelmed Tinder man, I guess this was for him as well. Set a time limit. Create boundaries. We all have different expectations for how we interact, so boundaries are a helpful tool. Focus on things within your control. Mute or unfollow people who are freaking you out. Pause before you post and think before you post. So those are the 5 kind of top suggestions from Dr. Google.
Well, I think we're on par there with Dr. Google.
Yeah. Especially we didn't even check Dr. Google until the end.
Pause before you post. It's a bit of a catchier comment, isn't it? Rather than
a bit of alliteration.
Stop and think before you post. Pause before you post. And
anyway,
moving on.
Yeah. So next week
We can't wait to be recording again. Thanks for tuning in, listening. We appreciate you all. Make sure that you do follow us or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye from me.
Bye.
Bye.
So we do love social media and we love the internet because that's why we're doing this podcast. But it's the message, I guess, or the thoughts of Wise Old Auntie Em and Auntie P is, you know, stay safe and think before you post.
Yeah. Stay safe, my babies. But anyway, next week it's about food.
Okay, say that again.
Okay. Right. Well. right. Here we are.
Okay, so on next week's show.
Shut up.